The words hit my chest like ice water. No one needs you to come this Christmas. My mother's voice through the phone didn't waver. She said it the same way she'd tell me she was out of milk. Casual, final. Like she was crossing an item off a list. My whole body went still. Not frozen. Something stranger. I felt my heartbeat in my fingertips, pulsing hard against the phone case. The kitchen around me seemed to tilt slightly, the afternoon light through the window suddenly too bright, too sharp. A buzzing started behind my eyes, the kind you get right before a migraine, except this wasn't pain, this was something waking up. "Did you hear me?" she asked, impatient now. "Cool," I said. My voice came out flat, someone else's voice. Then I added one more sentence that wiped the smugness right off her face. "Well, everything will be canceled then." On the other end of the line, there was a tiny pause, the kind of silence that tells you someone finally realizes they picked the wrong person to mess with. I could almost see her expression shifting, that flicker of uncertainty she hides so well. She thought I was bluffing. She always thinks I'm bluffing. That's the problem with being the good daughter for too long. People forget how dangerous you can become once you stop trying to be chosen. My name is Megan. I'm 28, and for as long as I can remember, Christmas has been my job. I plan the menu, design the decorations, manage the group chats, and quietly fix every disaster so my mother can look like the perfect hostess. Every candle, every playlist, every matching pajama set. That was me. And this year, the same woman who built her entire image on my invisible labor told me I wasn't needed, not invited, not welcome. Something snapped. I didn't cry, I didn't beg. If I wasn't needed, then I would prove exactly how needed I was. I had the guest list, I had the traditions, I had the leverage. With one message sent at the right time, her perfect Christmas could collapse like a gingerbread house in the rain. Have you ever wondered what happens when the quiet kid in the family finally decides to burn the script? Stay with me until the end, and I'll show you how one sentence turned our family holiday into the coldest revenge I've ever taken. When the call ended, I stood in my tiny Los Angeles kitchen, phone screen gone black, my reflection staring back at me. Those 5 words replayed on a vicious loop. For years, I'd built my entire December around that house, that table, that carefully curated illusion of a happy family. And just like that, I'd been erased with one sentence. The ridiculous thing? She said it like she was doing me a favor, as if cutting me out was some sort of mercy. That's the kind of woman my mother is. She breaks you, then acts like she's freeing you. Her name is Diane, but to everyone else, she's the woman who makes Christmas magical. Perfect tree, perfect food, perfect family photos. They clap for her every year. They never see the group chats I manage, the spreadsheets I build, the last-minute store runs I make when she forgets basics like napkins or actual gifts for certain relatives. They don't see me scrubbing pans at midnight while she accepts praise like a queen receiving flowers at the end of a performance. My brother Tyler just jokes that I'm good at this stuff. Easy for him to say. His contribution is showing up and existing. Mine is everything else. I thought back to last year when the oven broke an hour before people arrived. She stood there panicking, already rehearsing her victim speech about unreliable appliances and how hard she'd tried. I quietly ordered emergency catering, rearranged the timing, and lied to everyone about a fun, surprise menu change. She got compliments for being so creative. I got a half-hearted. "Thanks, Meg," while she posed for pictures in front of the table I saved. So when she told me no one needs you to come, something dark inside me laughed. If I disappeared, that house wouldn't just feel emptier. It would fall apart. I'm the one who reminds Uncle Robert about his flight. I'm the one who picks up Grandma so she doesn't sit alone at home. I'm the one who organizes the Secret Santa list, who texts cousins their assignments, who nudges everyone to bring what they promised. Without me, there is no Christmas, not the version they're used to. The more I thought about it, the clearer it became. For once, I held the power. For once, I could be the one who decides how the story ends. She thinks I'll stay in my lane, cry a little, and still show up with cookies and gifts like a loyal soldier. But this time, I'm done being the background character in a holiday she takes credit for. I opened our big family Christmas group chat and stared at the list of names. Uncles, aunts, cousins, neighbors, even Dad. All neatly lined up under my admin status. Admin. That word suddenly felt like a loaded weapon. I didn't type anything yet. I just let the idea breathe. If the person you treat as disposable suddenly stops doing the invisible work that holds your life together, what happens? Would you still show up smiling if your own mother told you that you weren't needed? Or would you finally show her exactly how much of her perfect life is built on your back? The next morning, my phone started buzzing before my alarm even went off. I didn't need to check to know who it was. Tyler, of course. He always shows up when Mom wants something softened. I let it ring twice, 3 times, then picked up. What? Wow, good morning to you too. He scoffed lightly, then lowered his voice like he was slipping into his favorite role. Peacemaker. Look, Mom told me what happened. She didn't mean it like that. You know how she gets when she's stressed. There it was, the classic family translation. She emotionally stabbed you, but don't bleed on the carpet. She said no one needs me, I replied. She meant it. She just doesn't want drama this year. She's tired. You know she's been doing this alone for years. I laughed, and it came out sharp. Doing what alone? Ordering me around? He ignored that. Anyway, even if you're not coming, can you at least help with the usual stuff? The group chats, the reminders, the playlist? You're kidding, I cut in. So I'm not needed, but my work still is? Silence. Then a frustrated exhale. Meg, don't be dramatic. This isn't about you. My fingers dug into the edge of the counter. Really? Because she literally made it about me. Tyler kept going like he was reading from a script Mom had approved. Mom's worried. She thinks you're pulling away. She's the one who paid for your college, your apartment deposit, everything. The least you could do is make Christmas easy on her. A bitter taste filled my mouth. Paid for my college? I repeated. You mean the college I dropped out of after 1 semester because there wasn't enough money for me to go back? Oh my God, not this again, he muttered. You know things were tight. She did what she had to do. She even used your fund when Dad's business went south, for all of us. Stop acting like you're the only victim. My brain stalled. What fund? There was a tiny pause, like he realized too late what he'd said. Nothing. Look, forget it. Just, can you send the reminder in the group? People are asking about the start time. But I wasn't listening anymore. My heart didn't sink. It hardened. There had been a fund, money meant for me, money I'd never seen. I have to go, I said quietly and hung up before he could spin another story. Later that day, I dug through old emails, bank statements, anything that might prove my instincts right. I found an old message from a bank we used when I was a teenager. An account in my name, opened when I was a kid. Attached was a note. College savings for Megan only. The last transaction showed the balance drained 5 years ago. Same year, Tyler suddenly got bailed out of a credit card disaster. The withdrawal authorization had 2 names on it, mine and Diane's. My signature looked off, sloppier than I remembered. Whether she'd forged it or pressured me to sign something I didn't understand years ago, I couldn't prove either way. And honestly, it didn't matter anymore. The money was gone. The betrayal was real. My hands shook, but not from sadness, from clarity. She hadn't just cut me out of Christmas. She'd been cutting pieces out of my future for years, and now she wanted me quiet and obedient for one more performance. I opened the family Christmas chat again. This time I didn't hesitate. I created a new group, Christmas Update 24th. I added everyone except Mom and Tyler. Then I wrote, Hey everyone, just a quick update. Mom told me she's feeling really overwhelmed this year and doesn't want a big crowd. She asked me to scale things down, so I'll be hosting anyone who still wants to celebrate at my place in LA. Totally understand if you already have other plans, but if you'd like a warm meal, presents, and some real conversation, my door's open. I stared at the message for a second, then hit send. The replies started rolling in within minutes. Honestly, a smaller thing sounds nice. We were only coming because of you anyway, Meg. Can I bring dessert? I watched my mother's perfectly curated empire start to tilt, one polite message at a time. Tell me, if you discovered your mom secretly emptied your college fund to rescue your golden boy brother, would you still play nice at Christmas? Or would you start rewriting the guest list too? By the end of the day, my apartment was turning into Plan B, the real Christmas. People kept texting, asking what they could bring, what time they should come, whether kids were welcome. Every ping on my phone felt like another nail in the coffin of my mother's perfect image. I didn't tell them about the fund. Not yet. I wanted that truth to land at the right time, in the right way. Revenge isn't just about anger. It's about timing. Between answering messages, I set up my phone on the counter and hit record. My mom told me no one needed me to come home for Christmas this year, I started, staring straight into the camera. So I decided to see what would happen if I stopped doing all the invisible work I've been doing for her my entire life. I didn't say her name. I didn't say anyone's name. I just told the story, the decorations, the planning, the emotional manipulation, the way I'd been treated like staff instead of family. I didn't cry. I didn't beg the audience to feel bad for me. I just laid out facts, one by one, like evidence. At the end, I smiled. A small, cold smile I barely recognized. If you've ever been the forgotten one in your own family, I said, this Christmas is for us. I saved the video, scheduled it to go live on the evening of the 24th, and set my phone down. Let the internet watch what happens when you push the quiet kid too far. Then I got to work. I called the catering company my mom uses every year, under my account, of course, because she never wanted anything traceable to her credit. Hi. I need to cancel that holiday order, I said sweetly. Yes, the entire thing. Next, I opened the email thread with the linen rental place, the one who delivered tablecloths and chair covers so everything would look classy. I sent a simple message. Plans changed. Please cancel. Thank you. Finally, I called Grandma. She picked up on the second ring. Meg, sweetie, you excited for Christmas at your mother's? My throat tightened, but I didn't let it show. Actually, Grandma, Mom told me she's really overwhelmed this year. She's scaling things way back. But I didn't want you stuck alone. How would you feel about spending Christmas at my place instead? I'll come get you. There was a pause, then a soft, excited laugh. Oh, sweetheart, I'd love that. It's been ages since I saw your apartment. Your mother's been so busy. She hardly lets me visit. Yeah, I said, staring at the wall, busy. After I hung up, I checked the chats again. My mother had created a smaller side group, immediate family only, and was furiously typing. I watched the notifications stack up. I don't know what's wrong with Megan. She's trying to ruin Christmas. Tyler, you need to talk some sense into her. She truly believed I was the problem. That was fine. She could scream into her little bubble. The rest of the family was already making other plans. Around midnight, my phone lit up again. Tyler, video call. I answered. His face filled the screen, annoyed and tired. What the hell are you doing? He demanded. People keep asking if Christmas is canceled at Mom's. Did you tell them that? I told them Mom wanted something smaller, I replied calmly. Which is true. She doesn't want me there, remember? You're twisting things, he snapped. She just wanted less chaos. Then she got exactly what she asked for. Less people, less chaos, less me. His jaw clenched. You're taking this too far, Megan. This is family. You can't just sabotage Christmas. Funny, I said, because she had no problem sabotaging my future the day she signed away my college fund. This time he didn't have a quick comeback. He just stared at me. You don't understand everything that happened, he muttered. Maybe I don't, I agreed. But she's about to. I ended the call before he could answer. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop explaining yourself to people who never listen. If your whole family was built on a lie you didn't consent to, how far would you go to finally make everyone see the truth? 2 days before Christmas, the mask finally slipped. My phone rang, and this time it was my mother. Not texting, not hiding behind Tyler. A full old-fashioned call. I let it ring long enough to make a point, then answered. Yes? No hi, Mom. No forced cheer, just that. What do you think you're doing? She hissed. No hello from her either. I just got off the phone with your aunt. She says you told her I canceled Christmas. I told her you didn't want a big crowd, I corrected, which is what you told me when you said no one needs me to come. Don't twist my words, she snapped. You know I was talking about your attitude, not your presence. I actually laughed. So my attitude isn't needed, but my labor is? Oh, for God's sake, Megan. Her voice sharpened. This martyr thing is getting old. You've always been so sensitive. You act like a slave when all you do is send a few messages and bake some cookies." Heat flooded my chest. "A few messages," I repeated. "You signed me up for years of unpaid work and called it tradition. I handle everything, Mom, and you know it." There was a shaky breath on the other end. Then she went for the jugular. "You want to talk about work? I worked my fingers to the bone for you. I used my savings so you could have a future. I sacrificed everything. And this is how you repay me? By turning the family against me?" I almost let her have that narrative. Almost. But then I remembered the bank statement, the drained account, my forged signature. "Your savings?" I asked quietly. "Or mine?" Silence. Real silence. Not the calculated kind. "What are you talking about?" she said, but her voice had dropped, lost its sharp edge. I opened the photo I'd taken of the old statement, my thumb hovering over the send button in the group chat labeled "Immediate Family Only." Then I changed my mind and selected a different chat. "Christmas update, 24th. Everyone. All of them." "I'm talking about the college fund Grandma set up in my name," I said. "The one you drained 5 years ago. The one you used to bail Tyler out while telling me there wasn't enough for me to stay in school." "That money was for the family," she snapped, suddenly regaining some of her bite. "Your father's business was failing. Tyler was drowning in debt. We did what we had to do. Stop acting like the world revolves around you." "Right," I murmured. "You did what you had to do, for everyone but me." My thumb hovered again. This time I attached the screenshot and wrote a short message to the whole group. "Since Mom told me no one needs me to come this Christmas, I decided to host whoever still wants to celebrate. Also for those who ever wondered why I never finished college. Here's part of the answer. I didn't hit send. Not yet." My mother was still talking, ranting about loyalty and respect, how I was ungrateful and brainwashing everyone against her. I barely heard her. I was staring at that unsent message, at the tiny blue arrow that would change everything. Once I sent it, there would be no going back to pretending. No more, "It's just how she is." No more, "She means well," just truth. Bare, ugly, real. "You think you're so powerful?" she spat. "You think you can ruin my Christmas? Let me be very clear, Megan. No one needs you to come. Stay in your little apartment with your pity party. We'll be just fine without you." I felt my face go cold. There it was. This time, no excuses. No wrong tone. No, "You misheard me." Just the sentence again, with all the venom fully exposed. I pulled the phone away from my ear and looked at her contact name on the screen, hearing her voice still going on and on. Then I brought it back and said calmly, "Cool." I could almost hear her smirk, before I added, "Well, everything will be canceled then." I ended the call, and without giving myself one more second to hesitate, hit send. "Tell me, if you had the proof in your hand that your own mother sold your future to protect her favorite child, would you keep the peace? Or would you press that button too?" The fallout started almost immediately. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree, only this time the lights were accusations, shock, and disbelief. "Is this real?" a cousin wrote. "What fund?" another asked. Grandma sent a confused voice note asking if this was some kind of mistake. I replied once, clearly, "It's real. I just found out myself. I'm not asking anyone to take sides. I'm just not hiding it anymore." After that, I let the chat run wild. People started sharing their own stories. Times my mother had borrowed money, shifted blame, twisted truth. It was like ripping up a carpet and finding mold underneath. Everyone had smelled something off for years. Now they finally saw it. Meanwhile, in the immediate family-only chat, my mother completely unraveled. "How dare you air private family matters?" she wrote. "This is a betrayal." Tyler tried to play mediator again. "Mom, calm down. We can talk about this later." But even in text, I could feel his panic. He hadn't known I'd found proof. He hadn't expected me to aim this high. On the morning of December 24th, my scheduled video went live. My notifications exploded as strangers on the internet poured in. Comments, likes, shares, people telling me their own stories, their own toxic holiday traditions, their own mothers who treated them like props. I read enough to realize something important. I wasn't alone, and my family wasn't unique. It was just finally being dragged into the light. By late afternoon, my apartment smelled like cinnamon and roasted garlic. I moved between the stove and the door, letting in guests as they arrived. Cousins with casseroles, an uncle with bottles of wine, neighbors who'd seen my video and knocked just to drop off a dessert and a hug. Grandma arrived with me, clinging to my arm, teary-eyed but smiling. "You did all this yourself," she whispered, looking around. "All these years, and you never got credit. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner." I swallowed the lump in my throat and squeezed her hand. "You see it now. That's enough." Around 7 p.m. that evening, my dad called. I almost didn't answer, but something in me needed to hear his voice. "Meg," he said, sounding older than I remembered. "What's going on?" "You saw the screenshot. You tell me." He sighed. "Things were complicated back then. I was drowning in debt. Your mother made choices." "With my money," I said. "With my future. Without my consent." There was a pause, then a quiet admission. "Yes." I waited for an apology. It never came. Instead, he said, "Your mother is devastated. Half the family isn't coming. Your brother just left the house furious. Is this what you wanted?" I looked around my crowded apartment. People laughing, clinking glasses, kids playing with wrapping paper on the floor. It felt messy and loud and real. "I wanted the truth," I said. "Whatever comes with it is just consequence." "You've humiliated her," he said. "She's sitting at a table set for 20, and there are 4 of us here." For a second, a tiny flicker of guilt tried to claw its way in. Then I remembered myself at 18, crying quietly in my room because I couldn't go back to school, being told there's nothing we can do, while my brother mysteriously got bailed out of his 3rd financial disaster. I remembered her saying I was too sensitive whenever she hurt me. I remembered her voice saying, "No one needs you to come this Christmas." "Then she finally knows how it feels," I replied. "Every year I sat at that table and felt like a placeholder. She chose this. I just stopped covering it up." He didn't respond. The silence told me he knew I was right, even if he'd never say it out loud. "Merry Christmas, Dad," I said and hung up. A few hours later, there was a knock at my apartment door, loud, frantic, desperate. For a second, my stomach dropped. But when I opened it, it wasn't my mother. It was Tyler. He stood there in the hallway. No coat, cheeks flushed from the cold, holding a half-wrapped gift in his hands. My parents' house was only 40 minutes away in Pasadena, close enough that he could have driven here on impulse after storming out. "Can I come in?" he asked. His voice didn't have its usual confidence. "Depends," I said. "Are you here to drag me back to Mom's table or to actually listen for once?" He exhaled, shoulders slumping. "I left. She spent the whole dinner yelling about you, about how you ruined everything. She didn't apologize. Not once." I kept waiting. She just kept saying how embarrassed she was. "Embarrassed?" I repeated. "Not sorry." He nodded miserably. "There's a difference," I said. He looked at me then, really looked, like he was seeing me clearly for the first time. I didn't know about the account," he said quietly. "I mean, I knew Mom found money when I was in trouble, but I don't know what I thought, that she had savings, that Dad helped. I didn't realize she took it from you." "You never asked," I replied. "You never wanted to know where your safety net came from." He flinched. "You're right. I didn't. That's on me." The living room behind me erupted in laughter at some joke. The contrast between my warm apartment and the cold, lonely picture he'd just painted of my mother's house was almost cinematic. "So why are you here?" I asked. "Because," he said, voice rough, "I don't want to spend Christmas pretending anymore." I stepped aside. "Then come in, but understand this. I'm not the family punching bag or event planner anymore. If you're here as my brother, not as Mom's messenger." He nodded and walked past me, eyes widening at the sight of everyone gathered there. For the first time, he saw what I could build without her, what I could be without begging for her approval. Watching the person who hurt you finally sit alone in the mess they made feels good. But is it as satisfying as you imagined, or does it leave a different kind of quiet behind? Christmas night stretched on in a blur of chaos and warmth. We played stupid games. We burned one of the side dishes and ordered pizza as a joke. Someone started a sing-along that went horribly off-key, and Grandma laughed so hard she had to sit down. My apartment wasn't big, it wasn't fancy, and nothing matched. But for the first time in my life, I felt like I was hosting something that was actually mine. Not a show for my mother, a home. Tyler stayed mostly in the corner at first, awkward and uncomfortable, like he'd stepped into a different universe. Eventually, one of our cousins dragged him into a card game, and I watched his shoulders relax, little by little. He caught my eye once, mouthed, "Thank you," and I just nodded. He had a long way to go, but at least he was finally walking in the right direction. Around midnight, after most people had gone and the apartment was littered with empty plates and torn wrapping paper, there was another knock at the door. This time, I knew who it was before I even stood up. My entire body went still. Tyler straightened on the couch. "You don't have to open it," he murmured. "I know," I said. But I did. I opened the door just enough to see her. Diane, my mother. She stood in the hallway in her best holiday dress, makeup smudged, hair slightly out of place, clutching her phone like a lifeline. She must have made the same 40-minute drive from Pasadena that Tyler had, desperate enough to come here instead of calling. Behind her, the corridor was empty and quiet. No backup, no audience, just us. "Megan," she said. Her voice was low, not angry, not yelling, something worse, small. "Can we talk?" I stepped into the hallway and pulled the door mostly closed behind me, leaving just a crack so I could still hear the faint noise of my own party. My world. "About what?" I asked. "About how I ruined your Christmas." She winced. "You didn't ruin it, you ruined mine." "No," I corrected. "I stopped pretending for you. You ruined yours all by yourself." Her eyes flashed. For a moment I thought she'd snap back, unleash the full force of her favorite weapons. Guilt and shame. Instead, she exhaled slowly. "Everyone is talking about that screenshot," she said. "About the video you posted. I can't show my face without people looking at me like I'm a monster." "Maybe stop acting like one," I replied. Her jaw tightened. "You have no idea what it took to hold this family together," she whispered. "Your father was useless with money. Tyler was reckless. I did what I had to do." "You did what you had to do," I repeated. "Fine, own it. But don't you dare pretend you did it for me. You took from me. You lied to me. You made me feel guilty for wanting anything. And then you called me not needed when I stopped killing myself to make you look good." Her eyes glistened, but I didn't move toward her. I'd been conditioned my whole life to comfort her when she cried, even after she hurt me. Not this time. "I shouldn't have said that," she admitted, voice cracking. "I was angry. You were being difficult." "Being difficult," I echoed. "You called me unnecessary, on purpose." "I was hurt," she shot back. "You were turning everyone against me." "I planned my own Christmas because you uninvited me from yours," I said calmly. "I didn't turn them against you. I just stopped hiding what you did." We stared at each other. Years of unspoken things hanging between us like thick smoke. Finally, she whispered, "I'm alone, Megan. Your father is useless. Your brother walked out. Half the family isn't speaking to me. Are you happy now?" The old me would have broken right there. I would have rushed in, wrapped my arms around her, apologized for making her feel bad. But tonight I saw it for what it was. Not vulnerability, manipulation. "No," I said honestly. "I'm not happy that you're alone. I'm happy that the truth is out." She blinked. "So what now? You never come home again? You cut me off forever? Is that what you want?" I looked back at the sliver of light coming from my apartment, at the blurry shapes of people moving around inside. Then I looked at her. "What I want," I said slowly, "is a mother who doesn't treat me like a servant or a spare part. I want a family where my worth isn't measured by how well I make you look. I don't know if you're capable of being that person." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "So that's it?" "No," I said. "That's the starting line. If you want a relationship with me, here are the rules. You don't get to call me not needed, ever again. You don't touch money that belongs to me. You don't use me as your emotional punching bag and then cry when I stop absorbing the hits. And you apologize, really apologize, for what you did. Not because you're embarrassed, because you finally understand that it was wrong." Her eyes filled with tears again. For a moment, I thought she might actually say, "I'm sorry," and mean it. But instead, she pulled herself upright, spine stiffening. "I don't deserve to be spoken to like this," she snapped, the old pride flaring back to life. "After everything I've done, after everything I've sacrificed." I cut her off with a small, tired smile. "Then you know where the door is." I nodded toward the elevator. We both knew she wasn't coming inside. Not tonight. Maybe not for a long time. Maybe never. She stared at me, waiting for me to cave. I didn't. After a long, silent moment, she turned and walked away, heels clicking sharply against the floor. I watched until the elevator doors closed, until there was nothing left but my own reflection in the shiny metal. Then I went back inside. Tyler looked up anxiously when I entered. "She here?" "She was," I said. "She left." "Did you?" He trailed off, unsure what he was even asking. "I told her the truth," I replied. "For once I told her the truth and didn't apologize for it." He nodded slowly. Like that, more than anything, was the real revolution. Later, after everyone had gone and the apartment was quiet, I sat on the couch in the dim glow of the tree lights and let the weight of everything settle. I'd blown up my family's favorite holiday. I'd exposed long-buried secrets. I'd left my mother alone with the consequences of her own choices. And I'd celebrated Christmas. Really celebrated it. For the first time in my life. Revenge isn't clean. It doesn't magically fix the years you lost. It just makes sure the person who broke you finally stops walking around like they did nothing wrong. Does it feel good? Yes. Does it fix everything? No. But for the first time, the story is mine. If your mother told you no one needs you to come this Christmas, would you swallow the hurt and show up anyway? Or would you cancel her perfect little show and build something real for yourself instead? And more importantly, if you were me, would you ever let her back in? Tell me in the comments. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles, zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.